Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we are talking about plants. We are talking about something that is cheaper, but as effective as it can be, closer to therapy. A little over a year ago, I was in a very bad place, but right now, thanks to God and thanks to all these things around me, I have been able to overcome all that I went through. Which you can call therapy, which I can call therapy, but I call it plant therapy. For obvious reasons, I cannot state them, but throughout my entire journey, they have come in very handy, they've been very helpful, and I want to share 4 reasons why you also need plants in your life. Reason number 1, throughout the time that I started collecting plants, I've learned one thing: discipline, because they are not too expensive, they are not too cheap. But if you keep going and going, you have quite a pile that in the end you will not be able to take care of them. And then the whole purpose of being a plant dad, being a plant parent is lost somewhere in the process. So it teaches you discipline. It gives you a routine where you wake up in the morning, in the evening, afternoon, whenever that you have the time, you are able to take care of these plants, and they are able to make sure that you do not unalive them. You make sure every single plant that you own is alive, doing well, and being very, very healthy. One thing that I learned throughout my plants journey in about a year and a half is that not every plant is as patient as you can be. Not every parent is as patient as you can be. But one thing that keeping plant therapy teaches you is that you need patience. I keep telling this to people that you don't expect the plant to be that small, and then in the next day you see it's this big. That doesn't happen overnight. So it takes a lot of patience, it takes a lot of care, character, discipline for you to make sure your plants move through all the stages. But also you should know the plants are living things and all living things die. It teaches you patience, it teaches you discipline in the sense that you would always have to have a routine for your plants. Some plants you have to take care of them more than the others you can just neglect them, but they will still thrive. Some plants need routines that are very flexible, like for example the snake plants. The snake plant is a type of plant that does not need a lot of care. It doesn't need a lot of watering, but once in a while you actually need to check on it. But I haven't checked on these in about 2 weeks and it's still alive. But some plants need like constant care. For instance, this Chinese evergreen here, I just took out one of its leaves because I forgot to water it last week and it died. Just as life is, no two things are the same. If you do not take care of something here, it would affect it in the long term. So know when and where you have to be disciplined, who you have to be disciplined to, and how you have to be disciplined. So that is one thing that plants have taught me in the whole long term that I've had them. Number 2. Having plants keeps your mind and your hands busy. One thing that I learned when I was going through my episodes was that I always had my mind on the problem that I was facing. I was always thinking about why am I going through this, why is this happening. But as soon as I started getting plants, as soon as I started taking care of plants, I had something else to shift my focus and my mind to. I had something to do with my hands, something that would keep me busy all the time. It will shock you that I had one plant which I did not even buy. It was a friend that gifted it to me, and then from there I began loving the journey. I got 1, I got 5, I got 10, I got 50, I got 70, and we keep getting more. But one thing that plants always help you is that you always have your hands busy, you always have something on your mind. You have to actually remember the last time you watered this plant, you have to remember the last time that you cleaned it. Have you checked for pests? Have you checked for good ventilation? Is it getting enough sunlight? So at all times your mind is busy, and as your mind is busy, it keeps your hands busy as well. So one thing that plants do is it shifts your focus from what problem you are going through and opens you to a wider range of things that can actually occupy your mind and can help you in the long term. Number 3, plants occupy your spaces and keep it living, breathing, and alive. One thing that I realized when I was moving out of my old apartment is At that time, I could not afford to buy all these little antique pieces for decor and all that. So I decided, why don't I do that with plants? Why don't I put greenery in my space? And for some reason, I thought I wouldn't be able to do it. But now, looking around me, looking at my hall, looking at my kitchen, looking at my balcony, I realize I've done a decent job. And I love it so much because the place keeps growing as I am also growing. So it's not a robotic thing. My space is not static. It is alive because every single time I am moving this plant around, I'm moving it towards the sun. It needs to be sun-bathed, so I take it outside. This plant is not doing well in this position, so I move it over here, I move it over there. And that alone, moving your plants around, that alone, like getting your mind and your hands busy, is actually very therapeutic. As you are trying to keep your space alive, you are going through this therapy session that only plants can give you. You can get it from other places, yes, but the way that I have experienced plants, you cannot get it from any other place. Depending on the type of apartment or the type of house or space that you have, getting the right plant is very, very crucial. You have to know the amount of light that comes into your space, the amount of moisture that is in your space. It takes a whole lot of things to know which plants to get for which space. That goes a long way to tell you that the plants are keeping your space alive. There is life around your space. So having plants over the past year has helped me to live with my space. I am not the only person living, I am living with my plants. So I'm constantly checking on them. I'm conscious about the things that I do in my space. I do not leave my windows closed all the time. Don't keep the place stuffy. Always have good ventilation. Proper lighting is crucial to keeping plants. So like I need good lighting, I need to make sure all my windows are wide open and all that. So in doing this, you actually get to live with yourself and live with your plants. Most of the time when people are going through mental issues, they feel like they are alone. They do not have people to talk to, they do not have people to vent out to, people to help them. But as you are keeping plants, as you are keeping this therapy session going, you realize you can be your own company. You can have company with these living things that we call plants. People call them inanimate, but they are not actually, they move. So I think keeping these things around you all the time is a very good way to keep your space alive and to keep your mind, your heart, and your hands away from the things that you are actually moving away from since you are going through this therapy session. Reason number 4, which is my favorite: plants are cheap. Plants are everywhere around us. Plants are nature. Some plants have cost me over $100. Some plants have cost me over $1,000. And I think depending on how you want your space to look like, depending on the end goal that you're looking to achieve, getting the right plants at the right costs is very, very important. Sometimes you cannot afford them, yes. There are times where I see a plant at a friend's place and I can't afford to get that same plant, so I ask you, can we have a trade? I have this plant, I think it would really look good in your space, but can I trade it for that plant? If you cannot get the entire plant, you can get a little carton of it. Like for instance, hold on. So for instance, I wanted this plant from my gardener, but as of that time, it was way too expensive. I could not get it. So I had a battle with him. I'll bring you a client, and then give me this plant. And it's been about 2 weeks, and now it's growing really beautifully. So one thing, you need to know how to bargain. You need to know what fits your space. You need to know why you're getting this type of plant. It might sound silly, but there are so many different reasons why you are getting plants. And just know that you have to be on a budget. You just cannot go collecting any plants just like that. You just have to stick within a budget. So that also teaches you discipline, as we mentioned at the beginning. So let's go over all the points that we said. Number 1, it teaches you patience and discipline. Number 2, it gets your hands and your heart and your mind busy. Number 3, it keeps your space alive and beautiful. Number 4, it's cheaper, very effective, and it is plant therapy. So these are a few tips that would help you if you also want to be on this journey of plants. If you want to start a plant journey, if you want to be a plant dad or a plant mom, a plant parent, you can also do it. Over the years, I've realized it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of patience, it takes a lot of things to be a plant parent, but you just have to start it. Along the way, you would learn everything you would have to learn. Some will die, some will grow, you need to cut some out, you need to give some out, you need to steal some and all of that. But as you grow, you would understand that being a parent for plants is as enjoyable as it can ever be. If I left anything out, can you let me know in the comment section below why you think plant therapy is as effective as clinical therapy, and I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to share this video with your friends and family and anyone who is interested in this content, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.